Hello everyone. Operator Starsky here. We're transmitting from Ukraine. That's why lags are, of course, expected. And I hope that we will not expect a lot of them. But yeah, it's very nice to see you tonight. And as usual, we have quite some news here. So first of all, as of yesterday, Russians lost 850 men, bringing the total number of eliminated invaders to something like 120 plus thousand. Nobody cares. Okay, the more the merrier. And as always, we have a lot of updates. Also, I don't see Russian tanks destroyed in the past 24 hours. I think that today there were some, we saw some videos of that. First of all, guys, let's talk about Bakhmut. It's very important because Russian terrorists were unable to take control over the very important highway. Basically, there were rumors that this highway, and we're talking specifically about this one here. So this is Bakhmut, and this highway is under fire, under constant fire. Russians attempted to take it, but luckily they failed. Oh, and by the way, Novogrodivka. I remember those places. Novogrodivka, we had a deployment here, and this is Kurakhova, Maryanka, and Krasnogorivka. This area in 2015, it was called Sector B of the anti-terrorist operation in Ukraine. We participated there a lot. As you can see, it's very, very close to Donetsk city. Here's the airport. There's this village of Pisky. It's like a small trip into the past. Okay, let's see what we have here. So first of all, as I already mentioned, Russian terrorists were unable to cut the supply line to the defending troops. And according to the armed forces of Ukraine, as of today, this road is still controlled by the good guys. Meanwhile, orcs keep concentrating their troops and bring more reserves to the occupied territories, preparing for their big suicidal advance in February this year. We're talking about 400, maybe 500,000 terror Russian troops who will eventually be eliminated one way or another, just like the first terror Russian army that invaded Ukraine 1 year ago. We remember that there were something between 150 and 190,000 of those who nowadays fertilize the Ukrainian land. At the same time, it took us quite some effort to liberate the territories that were occupied. We're talking about the North Ukraine as well as Kharkiv and Kherson. It means that we should be prepared, because we're talking about such big numbers, we should be prepared that we will see some massive Russian offensive. I think numerous cities and towns will be completely destroyed, also captured and recaptured eventually. All in all, it will be a very, very devastating period for Ukraine, which will probably take a year. maybe more, until the orcs are eliminated, or until there is a next mobilization in the terrorist federation. And speaking of the mobilization, I would like to talk more about it because in the Russian media, all those Russian propagandists often use this topic of mobilization in Ukraine in order to scare Ukrainian citizens and things like that. The problem is Russians are speaking from their own point of view. Okay, what they usually say is that Ukraine is not ready to fight until the last soldier, and things like that, basically. So they are talking from their own perspective, because in Russia, people that are being mobilized, they are not ready to go to a foreign country and basically die for nothing. Same with fighting until the last soldier. Russians are not ready, of course, to fight until the last soldier. They want to leave, obviously. The difference between them and yes, basically, as Luke Amato says, they project their own fears. That's the word. So what they don't understand is that Ukrainians will fight. We will be fighting one way or another because we don't want to die. We are defending. We are being invaded. And that's why we have absolutely no hesitation before defending our families, our land. You all saw those videos of unarmed people in Kherson stopping Russian tanks, flipping off Russian soldiers, and things like that. You also saw videos of Ukrainian people who are not afraid to fight. For the simple reason, it's not because we love war. No, it's because we are attacked and because we want to live very, very much. In Russians, it's different. They invaded Ukraine. They basically want to eliminate Ukrainian nation, but they at the same time want to stay home, and they want some other people to do that. Speaking about their mobilized men and things like that. That's why they basically project their own fears at Ukrainians without realizing that it doesn't work this way. So for Ukrainians being mobilized, it's even better, because we will receive all the supplies, we will receive training, we will receive all kinds of assistance from the authorities. We will be brought to units, which basically makes us stronger, and we will fight, and we will defend our families and our future. That's what they don't understand. Of course, we are ready to fight until the last Ukrainian, because there's nothing there's nothing embarrassing in sacrificing your life for people you love, right? Think yourself, if your family is attacked, what would you do to protect your kids, right? And that's exactly what we do here. Russians don't understand this because they are the attackers, and basically they, at the same time, they don't want to die in big numbers, and they also think that somebody else will die instead of them. That's the big difference, basically. So that's something that they are getting wrong every single time. Meanwhile, 21 Caesar artillery complex will be delivered to Ukraine from This dementia is killing me. From France, and Caesar artillery system is a very nice thing, able to deliver 155 millimeter NATO shell to at a range of 40 kilometers, which is almost 25 miles. Of course, Russians don't have much artillery like that. And yeah, Dusty River says those things are badass, probably. So we're expecting those, and I believe we already had those systems, and of course they are great. At the same time, we have these beautiful pictures. Oh my god, I opened something wrong. We have those beautiful pictures that are so huge, oh my god, of Bradleys being shipped to Ukraine. There's one. There's another one. Oh my god, this OBS studio is killing me today. Yeah, it's quite a big column of Bradleys, I can tell. Yeah, so we can expect them very, very soon in Ukraine. The sooner the better for all of us. Okay, tonight there was an air alert in the Bryansk People's Republic of the Terrorist Federation, and approximately 20 explosions were reported. Not sure if you could hear those explosions well, but I can tell you this. The citizens of the terror Russian Krasnoyarsk were even less lucky, because a meteorite exploded over their city. Where is it? Here it is. Yeah, here is a video of this meteorite. So there was a meteorite strike over Krasnoyarsk, scaring the shit out of people. As you probably see, and as you probably understood, God hates orcs. And I think it was proved constantly over and over and over again. Yesterday in Ukraine, there was a 20th anniversary of border agreements that were signed by Vladolf Putler and the former president of Ukraine, Leonid Kuchma, 20 years ago exactly. So in 2003, they signed a border agreement that recognized borders of Ukraine and borders of Russia. The supporters of the Russian terrorism and other uneducated people like to point at the agreements between the NATO and USSR that were saying that NATO should not expand. And as we all know, they never existed in the real life. And even Gorbachev proved it in his interviews. But even if they existed in some parallel reality, Ukraine was never a member of NATO and never became one. However, those idiots always close their eyes when we talk about the Budapest Memorandum, directly violated by Russia, who guaranteed Ukrainian security, as well as this very agreement signed 20 years ago, that was also violated by Russia. In this agreement, Russia recognized Ukrainian borders, and later they violated this agreement big time by annexing Crimea, bringing their troops to Donbass, to Luhansk and Donetsk, and of course illegally annexing a bunch of Ukrainian territories, even though they factically they are not annexed. Factically, they are still controlled by Ukraine, but they believe they're theirs. And basically, that's the reason why I completely support our President Zelensky when he called Putler a nobody. Because Russian terrorists are known for creating a lot of disinformation, and they never keep their word. I mean, everybody knows about it. So this was just a reminder for everybody about obvious facts, and these guys, those drones, will be delivered. They were already delivered to the defenders of Bakhmut, and they were bought by Ukrainian charity funds and brought to Ukrainian soldiers fighting in Bakhmut as of now. And I would like to show you how Bakhmut looks nowadays. So this is ordinary day in the city. Here we can see it being shelled by not by multiple rocket launch systems, but obviously by heavy artillery, 152 millimeter at least, from what I can tell. This one was funny, actually. Roman Abramovich, well-known Russian oligarch, said that he will spend $2.3 billion. No, we're talking about 2.3 billion pounds. Yeah, looks like pounds to me. To Ukraine. And here, my friends, we can see the first example of reparations being paid to Ukraine. So the reason why I consider it like reparations is because Roman Abramovich is a very known Russian oligarch who technically became rich by fooling and robbing Russian citizens. And technically, he's gonna spend almost 2 billion pounds of money of Russian taxpayers to rebuild Ukrainian cities that were damaged or destroyed, again, using the money of the Russian taxpayers. Kind of interesting fact. Here we can see news from the International Olympic Committee that basically confirmed that it follows double standards by rejecting the demand of the Ukrainian people to ban the terrorist sportsmen from the upcoming Olympic Games. Why it's important for Ukraine? There are three main reasons. First of all, Ukrainian sportsmen who fight for Ukraine right now, they are unable to participate in those games because of the war, because they are protecting their homeland, and a lot of Ukrainian sportsmen will not be able to come to those games and represent Ukraine. Another reason is that majority of the Russian sportsmen, and probably you didn't know about it, and if it's the case for your country, please let me know in the comments. So majority of Russian sportsmen are actually military, and it's like a tradition, or I don't know. Actually, a lot of Ukrainian Olympic sportsmen are also military, because basically the strongest people are in the army, and when they join the army and show their skills in sports, they are usually sponsored by the Ministry of Defense, and then by the Olympic Committee of Ukraine, and blah blah, and then they're sent to represent Ukraine at the Olympic Games. So in Russia, it's also the case. In Russia, most of their sportsmen are military. And third reason why Russia should be banned from the Olympic Games is that terrorist federation always uses such events to spread their disinformation and propaganda, basically. This opinion is shared by numerous Ukrainian sportsmen. For instance, Ruslan Malinowski. Here we can see this soccer player, footballer, or how you call them. So Roman Malinowski is a Ukrainian football player, and also he plays for Marseille, and he was criticized because during their match with Monaco, he hugged a Russian football player playing for Monaco, Alexander Golovin, Alexander whatever Russian, and he was criticized by Ukrainian people, and he said, let me translate from Ukrainian, he said, I want to bring my apologies before Ukrainians for doing this, for this gesture. I understand that I would better just avoid this person, but it so happened that he approached me and said hello, and after the game all the players shake hands, and automatically I did it. Individually, I would never share the same field with the Russian sportsman, because I completely support banning Russians from the international competitions. That's the words of Ruslan Malinowski, Ukrainian football player. Here you can see him on the picture. So, despite the fact that despite the claims, that's the word, despite the claims, because they claim that International Olympic Committee is being neutral and blah blah, still in 2020 they banned Afghani Olympic team because Talib terrorists violated the women's rights in their country. But because Russian terrorists have more money and they have friends in the International Olympic Committee, they will probably participate because money don't stink. Another thing, this one is awesome. So this comes from the Russian media, and you probably remember the Putler's Youth, the Russian Putler Jugend, right? So the Russian media published an article about a young member of Putler Jugend who killed his sleeping mother with a hammer. So the title says, until the morning, he was reading Dostoevsky, and then he went to kill. In Volgograd, the member of this Russian youth army killed his sleeping mother with a hammer. And since we're talking about the Russian media, you gonna absolutely love the next one. So, remember this. Remember that Skobeyeva, Russian propagandist, claiming that Europe was freezing and Cardiff women had no choice but to become prostitutes in order to survive and things like that. So the top Russian propagandist, known as Dmitry Kissilov, who offered to burn gays. It was like years ago. I think I showed you that video in some of my streams. He offered to burn gays in crematoriums, basically on a national Russian TV. So he claims that the European cuisine is gonna change very soon because Europe is starving. And it's starving because Russian mother Russia, because of those sanctions, doesn't feed Europe anymore. So that's why Europeans are basically forced to eat worms and bugs. And again, it's a top Russian propagandist. It's like Conan O'Brien, okay? And it was shown on the Russian national television. Let me do my best to translate it, to dub it for you, okay? Europe's cultural transformation has begun, and of course it has domestic dimension. People are being asked to do their laundry less, to use household appliances less, to wash less, to lower the temperature inside, at home and at work. And now they're being advised to eat insects. French cuisine may become unrecognizable very soon, and Italian cuisine too. Bavarian sausage will become something, oh my god, and British steak will become politically incorrect. European Commission is working hard for this, officially permitting shops to sell what which previously wasn't even considered as food. But now, as it turns out, insects, bugs and worms are the new words in cookery and on restaurant menus. So, guys, I'm expecting somebody to tell me that, you know, every country shares propaganda. Everybody does that. And do the people believe that? Trust me. Guys, this is the Russian national television. Imagine, for example, I don't know, like who's the most ordinary news agency? Like some people trust, some people distrust. Like CNN, okay? Imagine CNN saying directly that Russians have to become prostitutes and eat bugs because they have nothing to eat. Outhouses, well, okay, they use outhouses, it's a reality, but still, you would think like, what the, like, are you kidding me? Are you serious? They say that on their national TV all the time. I mean, terror Russians, because this is what they do, guys. Like what Goebbels used to say. He said, the bigger the lie, the more people gonna believe this lie, okay? And currently they're just copy pasting Nazi tricks in terms of their own propaganda every single day. Check out this one, for example. Russian, again, it's from their official media. Russian soldier in Ukraine destroyed a Ukrainian drone with his bare hands. It's cooler than anything you could imagine. Smedley Dora, it says, do lobsters count as bugs? I see. Yeah, that could be the case, by the way. Basically, they're just like underwater bugs, big ones, I think. Here, Jen Coyle, I think, says, we Swedes may disapprove of Putin's war, but we don't ridicule Russians on TV. This is the way they do it, guys. They make their people hate other people, and they make them believe they are God's chosen and strongest in the world, and yada yada. And by the way, I believe I've heard this very thing sometime, probably around like 1930s, 1940s, right? Michael, my sister wants to know if you're single. Michael, tell your sister, please, that I was divorced. So technically, yeah, I'm single. Ukrainians destroy drones with pickle jars, says John Haymaker, but I think we had a confirmation of that. Daryl Smelser says, will you sometime tell us why your hoodie's right string is always tucked inside? So it's like a secret. You gotta find out yourself. There's a very big reason for that. Ink Boy, you heard in 1930s, 1940s. How old are you? Very old. Ukrainian babushka took down an orc drone with a jar of pickled tomatoes. Truth. Again, I think like we have a confirmation of that. Personally, I don't really trust this like news or whatever, but if you can't confirm it, you better disregard it. Everyone is always trying to set up Starsky. He can do fine on his own, guys. Thank you, Denise. Hello from Netherlands. Hello from Singapore. Much love to Singapore, by the way. I probably told you already that this summer I was like hanging out with Zhenya, my journalist, my acquainted journalist, and by the way, I think she's in Bakhmut right now. I gotta check it out. So, some person asked whether I was operator Starsky, and again, it was in summer when I didn't have so many viewers, and I said yes, and this man said, I come from Singapore. I'm a journalist from Singapore. It's very nice to see you. And I thought, oh my God, people in Singapore watch me, and I even have like this thing tucked inside. Anyways, Tonya asks, how do you relax or enjoy where not on duty? Okay, I will tell you this. So first of all, it's food. Okay, you gotta reward yourself with something tasty, I think, and And what else? What else? Gym, boxing. Very, very rarely, okay, on a rare occasion, it's like playing Microsoft Flight Simulator. I made a livery for my Cessna 310. I made it myself. What do you think about the new president of Czech Republic? I think that I think he's legendary because military people, they have not like advantage over civil, nothing like that, but I can tell you definitely that they are more disciplined, and they when they think about some task, they do it. They have like a structural approach to this, very pragmatic approach. So I think our Czech friends are lucky, and I believe that he received like huge amount of votes of his supporters. So I think it's awesome. How's your new kit plane? It's a kit helicopter actually. It's not a plane. Do you read any books? If so, any recommendations? I would love to read books, and I would love to watch movies. For example, unfortunately, don't have time to sacrifice it, and it's something that I'm really missing. So, oh my God, my your guys, your questions are jumping like crazy because we have quite a few viewers tonight. Um, oh, Nicole asks, "Do you still play Phasmophobia?" I would love to play Phasmophobia sometime um, because they made some updates, I believe, and I would really like to check them out. Hoho says Cessna 310 is Cessna's first aircraft equipped with two engines. Aircraft is low wing. Yeah, it is. Uh, and it's awesome because it's FIKI certified aircraft, meaning it's able to fly into known icing. My previous favorite airplane was Piper Arrow, even Piper Arrow Turbo from Just Flight, but they you cannot fly them in winter. And this add-on from Milviz, it comes with like little Ukrainian trident that you can stick to the control panel, which is awesome. All right. Brian Knight says, I love Czech guns. I love Czech guns too. I have a Czech rifle. It's CZ 527, and it's amazing. Help Lithuanians to help Ukraine with radars. I completely support that because Lithuania wants to pass Ukraine a bunch of radars, which are so freaking important for us. There are different types of those. Some of those can identify UAVs. Some of them can will be able to identify missiles, and we need those, of course. Um, Jennifer says, "Thank you for being the only adult company I get each week. Single parent with no friends or family." You have 2,363 friends right now in the chat here. Okay, people want to talk about food, which I support. Um, who babysits fudge if you get called to action? Janie, I think that I can ask some people to take care of fudge for a while. Um, but it's a good question. I thought about it. Actually, I have a couple people in the village who can take care of fudge, and it's like something they can't refuse because everybody likes fudge. The most fun airplane you can fly is Icarus C-42 with lever you can turn a dime in the air. I think the coolest and the most fun airplane is a Kit Fox because you can land it like anywhere. Uh, but I believe that in Europe you cannot do bush flying much. However, I know that Anton Ptushkin, my good buddy, he did bush flying somewhere in Carpathian Mountains like years ago. What's the news with Arestovich? So Arestovich misinterpreted uh, that strike that hit, I think, people in Dnipro. So there was a Russian missile that could not be intercepted, and he said that it was probably intercepted and it hit the building, which was not the case, and then he decided to resign, basically. Uh, and I think it was a proper thing because, you know, when your job is to talk a lot, like in my case, for example, uh, sometimes you're saying something wrong. Okay, like my case, for example. What do you like to cook the most? Um, Basically, it's like fried potato with sausages or um, pasta with tomato sauce and sausages. Grandpa Savkovich could take fudge on walks, so I called Grandpa Savkovich. He's fine. I will probably not make like a video, but rather like a picture together with him next time I see him because I want to deliver some stuff. If you want, of course, I will make a video. Just let me know about it. But I think that he's kind of a bit old to walk fudge. Fudge is a big boy. Have you ever played Squad or Postscriptum? Actually, not really. Um, I don't really like shooters or tactics because the reason I like games that involve fantasy or like they involve flying an airplane or anything like that is because it's something that I will never experience in the real life. War, shooting, tactics, whatever doesn't excite me much. That's the reason why I had to delete my Euro Truck Simulator 2 because I started driving a car. And yeah, it's not exciting. However, I know a dude who works as a truck driver and like he spends 2 weeks like out there somewhere driving his truck across Europe, and then he returns home and starts playing Euro Truck Simulator. And when asked like aren't you tired of driving, he's like, I am, but it's so cool. So he's completely fanatic about it. Emperor, how's it going? Any stories to tell? uh, Depends. The other day I was remembering the story because it was anniversary. Like I received a reminder on my Facebook um, about this case. It's like when in 2018 I had a fight with a pedophile on the bus. If you want, I will tell you this one. Do you like borscht? I really do, but I don't eat it often because there's nobody to cook it for me, and my mother is far away. And also, my father can cook it, but because of COVID and because I have distorted sense of smell, it doesn't smell good to me, you know. Farming simulator. Max says, same with farming simulator. Most players are farmers. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Does Brandon like sushi too? Yes, he does. Absolutely. So, you want to hear the story? Okay. I will tell you the story, but first I gotta find this picture. Just give me 1 second because okay, it was on Facebook somewhere. I just gotta find it because it's much more interesting with, you know, to show you the one of the characters. There's so many of them here on my Facebook. Oh my god. You know, I don't follow my Facebook friends anymore because, you know, if I start following like things on Facebook, Twitter also, and other media, I will just completely stop sleeping. But there are so many pictures from my past. Oh my god. Oh, here he is. Oh yeah. So it was a funny story. The other day, and it was in 2018, I was heading from the Department of the National Guard, from our headquarters basically, to my place. And I was so I noticed two schoolgirls that came into the bus, and I stood up. Oh no, before that, in front of me, like against me, there was some dude, and he was like big, kind of older, but he was like a bear, you know, like big guy. And at first I thought that he was drunk, but he was like very aggressive, you know, it like not typically aggressive for normal people. He was like screaming something to that ticket seller and whatever. But for a while I just ignored him. So at some point, three schoolgirls boarded the bus, and because in Ukraine you usually pass your place to women, children, older people, whatever, I passed my place to those girls, and another dude did the same, the one who was sitting next to me. So three girls took 2 seats, but because they were small, you know, they fit there. And this dude, he was sitting against them, like facing them. At some point I noticed that he was like doing some kind of gesture, you know, like showing them something. Then he like touched one's leg, you know, and things like that. And I was like, instantly I was furious inside, you know. And I told him, like, I whispered on his ear, like, stop doing that or I will eliminate you, you know. And he was like, very, like, he became very infuriated, like, you know, like, yeah, let's walk out, you know, let's have a talk. I was like, okay. So here is this bastard, because I managed to take his picture. Unfortunately, I didn't record the way, you know, what he did to those girls, but yeah, I took his picture. So there was a problem though. The problem was, in my backpack I had a freshly purchased laptop. On the bag that was in front of me, there was my freshly purchased camera, and they weren't even mine. They were purchased by the National Guard. They were the property of the National Guard. So I had like 3 bags on me. And I thought about it later, actually, because if sold, all those things could be the equal, like, if I was to sell those items, I could buy a car, okay? So, but I didn't think about it that time, because as soon as we went down, the dude, like, grabbed me, like, grabbed my neck. But because it was very stupid, because both his hands were, like, busy, I kind of punched him. And he was, like, surprised. He started losing his, like, balance, you know, and he was, like, surprised. And so he released me, and then I punched him again, trying to knock him down, of course, targeting his chin. Instantly, because in Ukraine it's always like that. Instantly, a bunch of younger teenagers arrived, and they started, like, they attempted to stop this fight. And I explained them that it was a pedophile, and I was a national guardian and a national guardsman and stuff. So, and while I was explaining this to those guys, he punched me. He, like, sucker punched me without me noticing. And when he did it, I kind of kicked him back, and yada yada. And then I thought, like, where do I take him? I gotta take him to the police. In the police, I have to give some kind of evidence that he was, like, touching girls on the bus and things like that. So in the end, I decided, hell with that. So when those people gathered around us, I did what, you know, that creature, that predator from the movie did. So I became invisible and I went home. Yeah, but the fact is, I posted this idiot on my Facebook with the story, and one of my friends told me that one time she had a fight with him because he was touching kids in the tram, and when she started talking to him, they had a fight on the tram. So that's the story. Nothing really special, but you know, I received a reminder on a Facebook, so yeah. I think he's kind of famous, but you know, the way he talked and the way he behaved, it was not typical, you know, because he was, like, overly aggressive, like a sociopath, something like that. Probably he had some kind of disorder, you know. I don't know. There are such people, actually. Jim asks, is he still walking? I don't know, but like I don't think that I damaged him big time when I punched him, but when he sucker punched me, actually, what was really yucky, I felt like his sweat from like his hand, like on my lips. It was so yucky. I had to brush my teeth 3 times. Max, I bet police knows him. I think so too, because he probably has some kind of disorder, and probably he was on the list, actually. It was it wasn't the worst thing. The worst thing was after my very, very first deployment on the war. In 2015, in summer, I returned from the war, from the front lines for the first time in my life, okay? And it was kind of difficult because I returned to an absolutely peaceful environment, okay? We were deployed in the Krasnohorivka, by the way. You saw that place near the Donetsk on the map. And we spent a couple of months there. I returned home, and for me, it was both hard to see, like peaceful people just walking around, holding hands and things like that. At the same time, I enjoyed it because to me it was the best proof that what we're doing was great. Because at the front lines we were doing everything so people on the controlled territory could live peacefully. Okay, so I returned home, and it was like peaceful summer evening in Kiev. Plenty of people walking around and hanging out, and all the city is shining in the night. So I was sitting in front of my mother's house because I lived at her place for a while, and I was smoking before returning home, and going to sleep. So I received a phone call from my mom. And I think if she watches this stream right now, she remembers this one. So I received a call from my mom who said, and she only managed to say this. She said, Andrew, there's some kind of drunk dude is like trying to fight with us. And I'm like, where are you? She's like, near the store. And it was like 300 meters away from me. And another block. So I was there in like 3 seconds. 30 seconds, okay. I was there in like 30 seconds. I was running there like crazy. And sure enough, I saw my mom, I saw my auntie, and I saw my uncle, and they are aged people, okay, 60 plus. So there was some drunk MF with a bottle of vodka literally in his hand, and he was trying to grab my uncle. So like instantly he was neutralized. He was like laying on the ground. I was sitting on him. And for some reason, I decided that his bottle of vodka could be a weapon, so I destroyed it, of course. And the people in front of that store, and there were a lot of people, they were like, what happened? What happened? And I was like, police special force, everything under control, And my mom and my aunt, as well as my uncle, they were like shocked. They were like, what happened? So I was sitting on him, And what I did wrong, basically, because I thought that he wasn't dangerous anymore, so I stood up, and the dude instantly started fighting back. So I had to punch him back, and uh, then I saw some teenagers that were, hanging around. They joined us, and one of them kicked that bastard. And later, my mom told me that he was hanging around there in front of the store, starting fights with like different like teenagers, and things like that, with random people. That's why those teenagers saw that it was a chance to retaliate. And one of them kicked that dude. And what I was trying to do, as usually, I tried to kick him out, just to get rid of problems. So um, then some dudes, but because probably I couldn't target his chin properly, I was literally like knocking his teeth out, which is bad. So some dudes came up to us and attempted to stop this fight. I said I was a police officer, by the way, and I said that he was drunk and he was like fighting with my uncle and yada yada. What I didn't know was that those guys were his friends, actually. So I had to show them my ID, and I think it was like a bad idea. And then the patrol police arrived, and I did what you usually do when police arrives, and we disappeared, of course. Uh, I'm telling you this as a former policeman. So we disappeared, but the funniest thing was that I mean it was wise. Um, the funniest thing was that when I came home, my mom said, "Oh my God, like you're wounded, like he damaged your like." Did he wound you or something like that? Because like I was covered in blood, so I had to wash my hands. And do you remember all those scenes from like movies when the character washes his hands and they're like there's blood and stuff? So it was completely the same, but it was kind of funny. But the craziest thing I remember, like passing this store, I saw a teeth just laying on the ground. And I was like, holy shit. So it was kind of funny. And my mom told me, like, they expected that I would come there. And because I was a policeman, I would scare off that bully. But because he was like starting fight with my uncle, I picked the other variant. Don't do this at home. Always be peaceful and avoid fights at all costs. All right. Have the soldiers come to the USA yet for the training? As far as I know, yeah. As far as I know, a lot of them already arrived to pass this course of operating Patriot systems. And I also know about the guys who will be driving and operating Bradleys. So they are already there. And there's a lot of them there, believe me. Level 70. How's your clone Angelia Kennedy? Were you surprised she wasn't an orc? Actually, I wasn't surprised, but I remember... So, you remember that publication about Angelia Kennedy, the one who made a fake Operator Starsky page on Instagram? Basically, it cost me 1 cent to learn who she was, because I sent her 1 cent and I saw her details in the PayPal. um, and I attached a message asking like whether she likes American, Ukrainian, or maybe Polish prison. Uh, and she returned that sent back, by the way. But as soon as I saw her picture, I instantly remembered that she wrote some hate message to me. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you exactly if it was on Instagram or in Twitter, but I remember that face and she was saying some kind of hate stuff, so I blocked her. And it was prior to creation of this fake Instagram account. Operator Chuck Norrisky. Guys, I suck at fighting. I'm not as good as other people who train properly, of course. Um, Actually, I think that it was because I just returned from the war. It was like the first day I could spend for myself, and it was the first day after returning from the front lines. I had some kind of weird uh, weird thoughts, weird feelings about everything, you know. Okay, where was she from? I will tell you if I know more, and if I uh, if I can talk about it, of course. Fight like a Klitschko. Actually, in Ukraine, every second Ukrainian teenager is a boxer. Maybe every third one. For some reason, we all love boxing. Currently, Muay Thai actually is more popular in Ukraine than boxing. Again, for some reason. But it's like when I studied in my school, probably 50% of the boys were boxers. They were attending different gyms and sections and stuff like that. Uh, so it's very popular in Ukraine, and I think there is a reason for that. You had to vent frustrations. Probably yes, uh, because I brought a lot of stress inside myself, you know, and probably because it was a completely different environment, you know, because yesterday we were at the front lines where people were shooting and shelling, and then I was in this completely peaceful environment. So such things can happen, of course. Uh, when soldiers return from the front lines, in some cases they just go and have a drink to, I don't know, to celebrate or to vent and pick a fight in the bar and completely release all the stress and stuff like that. I usually don't drink at all. Um, Probably because I don't have a good company, of course. Metro or Stalker? I think both. Uh, I played Stalker when I was a kid. It's a it's a pretty old game, by the way. Um, but I heard that the dubbing, the Ukrainian dubbing of Metro was awesome. And Stalker, I would go with Stalker. I like this uh, lore much more. Any monster-in-law stories? I have some of those, but those are too personal. Can you do a video of fudge taste testing different foods? I can try if you like. Whatever you ask me, of course. LM Mayo, also it was your mother. Of course, of course. Like when it comes to protecting your family, we turn into absolutely different people. Even the like I saw this. Even the most peaceful people in the world can turn into, I don't know, professional boxers instantly when their kids are in danger. Being a good boxer makes a good mayor. I I would disagree here, but because we all love Klitschko so much, um, we can forgive him a lot. So Michael says, can Mayor Klitschko just challenge Putler to a boxing match and settle this whole thing? That was my idea, actually, because I believe that if we could just solve all of our disputes on a boxing ring, that would be perfect. First of all, that would make everybody much healthier because sports make us healthier. Also, it would be of course you would say like, but the strongest man like wins. It makes no sense. Yes, exactly. That's why it would be a good motivation for you if you want to be like a politician or opinion maker, to be stronger and faster and more technical than your opponent. So why not? Or you could ask your good buddy, like if you are not in the best shape, you could ask your good buddy boxer to represent your views on your behalf, basically, and that could work too. I don't know. Putler wears high heels. Oh yeah, and I still like I still cannot accept this fact that Putler wears high heels because okay, there are different people around us, and it's of course it's very bad, to not accept people that are different from you, but the dude is wearing high heels because he wants to look taller. And it's not a secret to anybody. And at the same time, the dude is like a ruler of a country. It's so strange. Morale to story is don't mess with operator Starsky Mom. Actually, I enjoyed living at her place for a while because she cooked different stuff that I liked, like pancakes with like jam, cherries, and you know. Michael asks Lomachenko any good or is he all talk? Lomachenko is very talented, but the problem was that he liked Russians too much, and specifically we're talking about the KGB Russian Church and things like that. I don't know why, but in sport there's always this huge pro-Russian influence. No idea why. Absolutely no idea. In Ukraine, for example, all the sportsmen back before the Revolution of Dignity, all Ukrainian sportsmen were more or less supporting Russia and supporting the ruling pro-Russian party, because pro-Russian forces in Ukraine usually supported sportsmen. And they supported them for the reason that sportsmen are the best bandits, basically, because those boxers or wrestlers, they could be used as, street fighters or raiders that we had a lot. So probably that's the reason. As for Lomachenko, he's a talented guy, but he was into all this Russian mir too much. And because of that, he reposted a lot of stuff that was produced by Russian propaganda, and that's why, even though he changed his opinion after this invasion, and I think he even participated in the territorial defense for a while, fighting against Russian invaders, but eventually he had he got into some problems because of his pro-Russian past. Should the Russian should the Russian sportsmen be allowed to participate in Olympic Games in Paris? Question from Angela. And Angela, we talked about it in this video, and there are three main reasons why they shouldn't do that. First of all, because Russians are using every such event to share their propaganda. Second of all, it's because Ukrainian sportsmen cannot participate in Olympic Games because of the war, because they're busy fighting for their homeland. And third reason is majority of Russian sportsmen are usually military. So there could easily be even those people who participated in this invasion. And imagine those people receiving a medal, and Russian propaganda, all the Russian media will be like, look at this is our hero who returned from fighting in Ukraine and instantly he became a champion of the Olympic Games. It sucks. Olympic Committee has double standards. They banned Afghani sportsmen because Taliban regime violated human rights, violated women's rights and things like that. But when it comes to Russia, it's a different thing, of course. Yeah, and Nicole says some players are friends with Putler. Exactly. Michael, Starsky, you just need the mayor of Kiev and you'll win the boxing match. Klitschko once, I don't really like to talk much about it, but I received a cross of defender of Kiev from Klitschko, basically. Do you have a good sewer system in Bakhmut to navigate? I don't know about the sewer system in Bakhmut. I know that it's there. I know that it existed. Never been there, but it's there. Do you know if Romania is still support Ukraine with something? Um, Let me even tell you exactly. So there is a website called Help Ukraine Romania, humanitarian and medical aid to Ukraine. It's a charity, and also they help Ukrainian refugees a lot. That's what I know. Yeah, and as it mentioned in the chat, Romania makes great AKs. It's true. And if it makes AKs, it means they have ammo for those AKs, right? Do we have Jake Bro here in the chat? Somebody mentioned him. Buddy, if you're here, you have all my hugs. When are you getting a cat? When am I getting a cat? After the war, I promise. Sometime after the war. Okay. A lot of Russian propaganda in Romanian Telegram. Actually, it's like there's a lot of Russian propaganda in any other Telegram. It's like everywhere. It's true. We are fighting this. There are specific groups that let you report Russian propagandist channels on Telegram, and we try to get rid of those. Sometimes it works, by the way. Stray Fox asks, do you like Hungarian fish soup? I never tried it. Actually, I tried fish soup, and by the way, that's the only kind of soup that I can consume. Again, because after COVID, AK Crowd 74 here. Hi, buddy. Because after COVID in 1919, oh my God, I'm not that old. In 2019. My sense of smell is distorted. That's why I cannot consume 50% of what I used to eat. But fish soup tastes amazing, even still. Tonya, I am Finnish. Do you try any Finnish dishes? No, but now I know that I should. I know what I will do. So I will try some national traditional dish from all those countries that support Ukraine. And I gotta make a list of those. Tell us the nationalities of viewers. It would be interesting to know. From Johnny, it's much easier. You can just type your country in the chat and we will see. What tanks are you most interested in seeing using? The Leopard, Challenger, or the Abrams? Nathan, I think that Abrams would be more interesting because it's a bit different from Leopard and Challenger in terms of fuel, in terms of its system, its engine. That, by the way, you can replace in like an hour or two in the field. And I would like to see that one. Also, in the 90s, I played a computer game, basically a tank simulator by, was it Novalogic? Something like that. And yeah, I would like to try it, of course. However, I would definitely make I would definitely make a review of every tank that we will receive. Heather says, you're going to be eating a lot if you eat something from every state in the US. It's like, there's like just half a hundred dishes. It's not too much. But actually, it's a great idea. I would like to try some specific local dish in every state. Would you rather would you rather have a Bradley or a French AMX-10? I need to make a review of those to tell you which one is better, in my subjective opinion. Again, because they are very, very different. I like AMX, like I like the way AMX-10 looks like. Basically, like a wheeled tank. It's something very unusual. Bradley has a bunch of anti-tank missiles. Again, it's a big advantage. So I gotta check them all. Michael, which armored vehicle do you like the most? That's the thing. Currently, because I only operated BTR-3, I like BTR-3, but it's love and hate, two in one, because it's a very nice Ukrainian-made vehicle. At the same time, it's like if you want to reload it, it sucks so much because you need the whole crew to do this, and of course you cannot do it in the combat zone. Management Consulting says France has more than 300 types of cheese. And also, according to Russian propagandist Kissilov, they will also have a lot of different types of worms and bugs. So I gotta definitely visit France to tell you if what Kissilov says was true. Oh my god, I I still cannot understand. Like they realize actually that the incredible BS they're saying in their media is unbelievable. But because it's unbelievable, there are people who believe this actually. It's so amazing. Ah. And again, those Cardiff women who kinda had to become prostitutes. Like, why Cardiff? Why specifically Cardiff? Why not any other city? Why Cardiff? Grandma of 8. I'm an American grandma of 8 who watches every Starsky video, and I just want to say hello and send my love to you and all of Ukraine. Thank you so much, and lots of hugs and love to you as well. Have you heard from Max, and how is he doing? Max is doing fine. We talked just yesterday. Why? There is no reason. There must be reason for Cardiff. There totally must be reason. No idea why. Charlie Manson, Operator Starsky, you've never been to Cardiff, obviously. I have never been to Cardiff, honestly, and I would definitely like to visit one day. There are places in Ukraine as well, trust me. Can you tell the guys here when you are on the shills, they need more support? Felicia, absolutely, I agree on that. So on Friday, no, wait. On Friday, I will be on the In Time show, and on Saturday, approximately this time, like 10 p.m. Ukrainian, I will be at the Shills. Yeah, it's my good friends that invited me to stream with them in April, probably, as soon as I started my channel. So, you know, they're very nice, and they're very supportive. So this Saturday, welcome to the Shills. It's also the Welsh accent. Oh yeah. Lamar, have you tried cherry-filled pierogies? Those are my favorite, actually. There are two types of cherry-filled pierogies. First is pierogies that were boiled. They're like dumplings. And the other type is when you cook them on steam. And they're both great. Okay. If you go to Cardiff, do in spring or summer. I think any place in the world is only good to visit in summer. Oh, Dean Brown here. Hi, buddy. Nathan says, if you come to Cardiff, Wales, please say would love to have a drink. Absolutely. Welsh accent. I like Welsh accent. But I also like Cockney, and I found some kind of tutorial on a YouTube how to speak with Cockney accent. It doesn't work. I just cannot. But I will try. How much longer do you think this war is over? Donald, I think it's like, according to our most optimistic anticipations, it can finish like tomorrow, okay? But according to realistic anticipations, it can take maybe a year or two. Because Russians, it's not only because Russians have a lot of vehicles. So, for example, Ukraine will be given a couple of hundreds of tanks and armored vehicles, right? So, let's take BMD, Russian armored vehicle used by their paratroopers. They're airborne, basically. They have around 1000 BMD-1, around 1700 BMD-2, and less than 1000 BMD3 and something around 300 BMD4, which in total makes it a couple of thousands of vehicles, right? And we only receive a couple of hundreds of those and tanks. So we're talking about big difference in weaponry. We also talk about huge difference in manpower, because Russians use this strategy that is completely inhumane, but it's effective. Because if you have technically never-ending source of people that you can just throw into a meat grinder of a war, then you can eventually achieve your goals. And that's exactly what they do, because it's the most simple, the most stupid, but at the same time the most primitive and the most simple way of achieving their military goals. Taking cities, taking towns, using just primitive manpower. And basically one of the reasons why they're called orcs, you probably remember Warhammer and those fields of bodies. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I wonder if 10 million Ukrainian women living in Europe will want to return to Ukraine after getting a year-long taste of life outside of Ukraine. I think some of them would like to stay, of course, but majority will return definitely, because one way or another, a lot of Ukrainians already worked in Europe, and it was our biggest advantage, because we knew how civilized and normal European life looks like. That's why we want to have the same in Ukraine. At the same time, some people who lived in Donbass, they traveled to Russia because, it's easier to travel to Russia. You don't have to learn other languages. You can just speak the language you know. And Russia is like, it looks like Donbass in a way. So that's why we have such different experience here in Ukraine. But majority Ukrainians, they traveled all around Europe, and they brought a lot of beautiful things from Europe, in terms of like values, in terms of views, in terms of fashion, and other things. Kat says, I'm determined to visit Ukraine one day. You will be so welcomed here. Yeah, Charlie Manson says, Starsky, the vast majority of the refugees here are happy to be here, but want to get back and rebuild their homeland. One thing they will bring with them to Ukraine is this amazing feeling of friendship with European nations, with American people. They will bring this experience that I would say nobody else had before, and it's so beautiful in my opinion. Okay, guys, it's almost 1 a.m. here in Ukraine, and I feel so hungry right now because there's a question from Alexis. How do you see Russia in 10 years? I see a country divided and with serious problems in the future. Something similar to my views, but the way I see Russia in 10 years is never seeing it again, you know. I think that 99% of Ukrainians would be happy not to see them again completely. And our biggest dream is for Russians to completely forget about our existence because we don't want them. We don't want their friendship. We don't want to have anything in common with the orcs. We are different people. Okay, guys, I will have some, I don't know how you call it. Too late to be dinner. Too late to be a dinner. Too early to be a breakfast. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It was fun. A lot of crazy news as usual, but it was fun because we were together. Thank you so much once again. Thank you for supporting Ukraine because it's a proper thing to do. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. My name is Operator Starsky. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.